Hi everyone. Thought I'd do another one of these little chats, and definitely interested in to hear what people have to say about the subjects today. Um, One of the things I wanted to mention, the current restrictions in Ontario. It just seems to be amazing to me. I don't know who's got Doug Ford's ear, but it sounds almost like the Green Party cabinet has got his ear, um, in that he's shutting everything down, including outdoor activities, which makes no sense at all. Anywhere you look, any time you've looked at the data, it indicates the safest place to be is outside. Inside is where the virus gets transferred. Outside, it fails horribly at surviving, period, let alone transferring, even in things like close contact, no mask scenarios. It seems as though the this particular virus struggles to be transferred, so it dies like very quickly out in the open air, and um, dispersion is something that's obviously a big safety factor. Um, Anytime there's been large outbreaks, at point outbreaks in say restaurants and other things, it's always the way that the air moves in the room that has the biggest influence over who gets infected, who doesn't, when they do their studies. So the it's pretty clear that this virus, if there's an updraft, like if there's a some means to send the air up or down away from the rest of the crowd in the room, that seems to be a safety factor. And outside, you can imagine it's kind of like, if you're a smoker back in the day, you knew how the smoke hung in rooms. You went outside and you might smell the smoke if you were downwind, but it disperses rapidly outside. It's just a natural effect of the slightest breeze at all will disperse it very quickly. Seems like that's what's going on. Plus um, the other factors of temperature and whatever else seem to kill it off. We don't know. Even at night, people don't get infected, so it doesn't seem to be daylight so much as it is the other factors. But keeping people from going outside seems to be just foolish. And I don't know why Rob Ford shut down the provincial parks, and basically golf, everything else that goes on outside seemingly is out outside of bounds right now, which doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, plus uh, I'm including a little clip from Bill Maher, and he makes some good points, as he often does, and in a humorous way. But it seems as though the Democrats in the U.S. from polling data got so much of the questions on COVID wrong, more wrong than the Republicans. So in some ways, Republicans, of course, are buying into some stuff that's inaccurate, but they at least know in a much more accurate way the chances of going to hospital, the chances of serious illness, all these things. People are way overestimating on the Democrat side the risk factors, and not that you don't take the precautions. I think the truth of the matter is the media has been playing a part, and I think partly the institutions have been playing a part to try and get people alarmed, and therefore reacting. And I don't think you need to um, overstate the risk to get people to react. We're big boys now. I think people can understand that. Yeah, it's not everyone who's going to be killed by this virus. It's not a high percentage of people. It's a certain percentage of people those people don't deserve to die any more than anybody else, and concern about those people and the sheer numbers of people horribly affected by this pandemic, I think are going to get the reaction that they want. But when you overstate, when you misinform, you lose people's faith. And you can't afford to do that. You need to be rigorous. You need to try and spread an accurate picture. And even if the accuracy of the picture goes against some talking points, that's okay. We can take it. So anyway, have a look at Bill Maher's little clip I'm going to include if you feel like it. And the other piece I saw that was interesting was a researcher, very highly qualified researcher who has been dealing with misinformation and I guess the history of associating personal freedom with the freedom to do what you want with your body and take whichever medical advice you want and all of that good stuff. It goes back in the U.S. anyway to I'm sure the beginnings of the country where it was government tyranny that they were trying to escape. In some cases, it was religious tyranny and religious groups that were being targeted, and they came to the U.S. to escape that. So the lack of tolerance of and the lack of trust in governments and institutions is built into the U.S. psyche, it seems. We're not so much that way because it seems that when England lost the colonies and 13 colonies in the lower 48, they got a little smarter about how they dealt with portions of their, at that time, empire, and they've let us go our own way in a more gradual and less intrusive manner, and therefore kept some influence in Canada, and it generated, I think, a trust in government because generally speaking, our government represented us well. It didn't do tyrannical things to us, and was generally efficient and a source of good things happening. So we have, for a number of reasons, I guess, a better faith in what our institutions tell us. So, the general "don't tread on me" lack of trust of institutions is a useful thing, but also can be dangerous when a pandemic is happening and when there's a lot of bad information flowing around, and especially when your institutions are trying to get the alarm buttons pushed, but aren't doing it in a way that's open and transparent and clear. And just in general, the way that we're seeing science happen in front of our eyes. Right? We don't normally see that, but that's how it works. You collect data, you try and you create a model to predict the data, to explain the data, and then test it, see if it predicts, if the predicted outcomes using your model actually come to fruition. And by refining and refining and refining on that, you get to a model that's as accurate as, it's just like weather. Our weather modeling has gotten pretty good. We're still inaccurate because it's so complicated, but same with these diseases. They're very complex. The human body, interaction with the human body is very complex. Interaction with sociological issues and behaviors is very complex. So anyway, all that to say, I think that we're not being well served by some of these media who are overemphasizing. Every time you see a picture of a beach, it's through the telephoto lens, making it look like people are jammed together. And frankly, they probably aren't. And also, even if they were, they're unlikely to be transferring COVID. So, stop showing pictures of beaches with telephoto lenses continuously. And, don't overemphasize the aspects of this, pandemic, to the detriment of truthful discussion. We can, as Bill Maher says, Doc, we can take it. Give it to me straight. Tell me when you don't know. Tell me when it's pure speculation. Geez. Anyway, I don't know how much longer Doug's going to keep us locked down here, but keeping people inside is not a way to prevent disease spread. It's pretty clear, So anyway, other things. I got my little injection the other day. It was a Pfizer BioNTech, and I understand that some of the AstraZeneca in the drugstores is being left wanting, left unused, and I think that's a huge mistake there. Again, the reporting is not that good. You see continuously reported the efficacy of, say, a BioNTech or a Moderna versus AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson. And it was brought to my attention recently that these drugs were tested at completely different times in completely different places. Majority of the Moderna and the BioNTech was early on in the pandemic, and in North America, Europe, where the very first variant was prevalent. The Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca were done in Brazil, and I believe a few other places where variants had already emerged. And, these variants clearly are much stronger in terms of their ability to be transferred. And the results were, the symptoms were much stronger as well. So you can't really compare these things. No one knows how Moderna and BioNTech would have performed in Brazil, say at the time that the Johnson & Johnson was being tested. It probably would have been very close to the Johnson & Johnson result, because we know they're not quite as effective against those variants. So to say, it's 60% effective as opposed to 91%, no, that's not a fair comparison. And, you see it all the time, and we've got people now who don't want to take an AstraZeneca or a J&J because they don't think it's the good stuff. It may not be quite as effective, but it's impossible to tell from those studies. So anyway, have a look at some of that information I'm sending along, and do some research if you want on the studies that were done for BioNTech and Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, and see where they don't compare. Anyway, we should have our journalists doing that for us, but unfortunately it seems like it's just eyeballs now. It's just as whatever headline you can throw up and whatever clip you can put on that is going to bring people in, that's all that really matters anymore. And that's for every one of these mass media outlets, it seems. They're just not as reliable as they used to be even in their coverage. And that's it for me, I guess. Hopefully that catches everyone on their way to getting a injection soon. I know Catherine is now registered here at the drugstore, and she's expecting a response soon. She heard that she is going to be on the list of people getting it sooner or later, because they've got enough doses to cover her. She will be eventually poked. And I guess that's it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying things as best you can, and hang in there. We're getting through it. Talk to you later. Bye.